Rajesh Agny, Product Marketing Manager, part of the Technical Computing Group at Intel Corporation. The good fortune I had was I was the quarterback on this from day one on the Intel side. So once we reached an agreement, alignment with Jim on the MOU, the framework for deploying this cluster, we then got engaged with Appro. And that's where John Labrie came into the picture. And we worked out the details around the framework and MOU with him. It was a pleasure because he brought a very collaborative, very professional, very constructive approach with him and his team. And then as the project steered from marketing or business development into engineering, it got to a point where the acceptance of the cluster came into play. So the engineering folks from all the three sides were involved, and given the newness of the architecture and the multiple technical dimensions involved with a cluster deployment like this, there were some challenges during the acceptance phase. And the thing that I'm really proud to share is the three teams rose to the occasion and made a diving catch and enabled acceptance of this cluster in time in September last year. So overall, a very productive and fun ride. For Intel, I would say the biggest value came from getting feedback from Appro and Sandia that enabled us to get ready for Knight's Corner in terms of the hardware, the software, and the tools for a cluster environment. The collaboration between Appro and Intel precedes our involvement on this exercise around mic architecture. It's already well established on the Intel Xeon platforms. And so when you look at this exercise and what the two entities brought, we brought our broad experience and respective competencies, right? So Appro brought your HPC cluster design and integration competency. Intel brought the HPC compute building blocks like Xeon processor and the Intel Xeon Phi coprocessor. And then the third piece, which I think was crucial in this case, was we used the Intel cluster that was already functioning on Knight's Ferry as a reference. And that cluster was using Intel's EPSD building blocks like motherboards and chassis. And given the collaboration, the tight engagement Appro has with Intel APSD, that was a big plus in terms of deploying this cluster. Last but not least, the piece that I think also helped us was our PAE team, the Platform Applications Engineering team on the Intel side, was already working closely with the Appro counterparts. So that's how I believe the collaboration really clicked. The primary objective of this exercise was to evaluate the mic architecture for a cluster kind of an environment. And by having Appro and Sandia deploy this Arthur cluster, it laid the foundation for this evaluation. And so in terms of the greatest success, I would classify that as three-pronged. The first one, it allowed Appro to evaluate its ExtremeX supercomputer design. It enabled Sandia National Laboratories to evaluate how mic architecture did in terms of programmability and performance characterization. For Intel, it gave us the valuable feedback we needed to ensure Knight's Corner was ready in terms of cluster environments, vis-a-vis hardware, software, and tools. And so, in a nutshell, I think from a joint exercise standpoint, I would say it enabled us to bring forth some very important proof points that say the Intel mic architecture or the Intel Xeon Phi coprocessor is well poised to address the growing number of these highly parallel compute workloads.